All right. Welcome to the stream, everybody. We're going to go ahead and do another first play on launch day. This is a brand new title, a 99-cent bullet hell shooter called HyperShot. It is brought to us by brand new developer and publisher Pirate Dog Games. We see this is our first entry onto Steam. It does not have a discount, but it is only $1, guys. So we're going to go ahead and play this game. I can already see some things from the trailer that I can make suggestions on, but it looks like it's pretty fun. One thing I definitely like, and you should basically spout this. You should let people know about it right here. You have plenty of room to the developer right here. You need to say that you have 300 levels in the game. That needs to be right here to the developer. But yeah, you see that you blast your way through 300 different levels. I would also say that there's 20 enemy types. So basically, I would say blast your way through 300 levels and face more than 20 different types of enemies right here. Put that right here for sure, because that is pretty impressive, especially for a 99-cent game. So let's go ahead and launch this game, HyperShot. Let me go ahead and relaunch it. Let's go ahead and play. I did launch the game to make sure that everything works and to make sure that, it plays without any kind of problems, because sometimes indie developers with new games, like they won't have an executable or anything like that. So I like your intro screen here. You could probably put all this on one screen. You could probably put the play options and quit on the last screen. Like, there's really no reason to have to go to this screen for this. But if we go to options, guys, we see that we have a music, which is really loud by default, so I turned that way down. This I did turn down just a little bit, and you can select from a lot of different options here. I'm going with the default 1920 by 1080. Let's go ahead and go back. We see the controls here. Use mouse to move the player around the screen, and use either the arrow keys or the WASD keys to shoot in 4 different directions. Okay. And how to play: to clear each level, shoot enemies to gain enough points. Some enemies need to be shot more than once. Some enemies cannot be destroyed, and always follow the player. And the game autosaves when the level starts. So when we look at the credits, we see that it is probably just one dev doing everything. All right, let's go ahead and go back and jump in. Welcome to the stream, guys. All right, so any key to start? Level 1, okay, so right off the bat, this is one of the things that I saw that we need to help the developer fix. Okay, so the pink clashing with the blue in the upper left and the upper right, that needs to be fixed. So what I would do is I would probably put like a dark blue bar. I know you don't want to go black because black is the play area, but maybe a dark blue bar right behind your score in the upper left, and also right behind your level 1 in the upper right. That way it's easier to see, because right now the contrast is really bad. So I would put like a really dark blue, not black, but a really dark blue behind the 0 and 400 and the level in the upper right. The reason I'm saying dark blue is because I know from experience that pink has a sharp, easy to see contrast against like a dark blue. So that's what I would go. Also, your enemies here at the start of the level and the border is light blue, so I think dark blue would probably be best for the background of the score and the level. Put it right behind those. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. So we are this little dude. As we move around, you see we have complete freedom of movement. I like that. I like the mouse movement. Good choice there. And we shoot like that. Okay, so I understand that this enemy splits up. So when you shoot an enemy, it splits up. And you just got to get to 400 points. So you basically, the more you shoot, the more you got to dodge. So it gets harder as you play. I like that. I mean, that's an original, unique gameplay element that I didn't expect. So the only thing I'm going to say is that the shot impacts when we hit one of these things, it doesn't have any kind of satisfaction. So to give it more satisfaction when you successfully hit, you just need to add a little bit of impact, like make some light blue sparks come flying off of whatever you hit. And then we also need a sound effect. We need some kind of a pachoom, any kind of impact sound that actually sounds good. It doesn't have to be extraordinary sound, just anything real basic. Just basically go poof into your microphone, go phew, phew, and then edit that with Audacity and make it sound cool. That's really all you need to do is just go pew, pew, like that. Make that sound effect right there into your microphone, and then edit it with Audacity and change it up a little bit to make it sound cool. That's how I make a lot of the sound effects for my games, right? So we're almost to where we need to be. And I am curious to see what happens when we... Okay, so then everybody blows up. So I do like what you're trying to do. We just need more satisfaction from actually getting successful hits, because we don't have any sound effects and we don't see anything visually. So we need to have some sparks or something like that come off of the enemy when we get a hit. Same thing here. I mean, now we got to get 400 points. This is exactly the same enemy. And also coming up with unique names for your enemies would be kind of cool. So, you know, call this the, I don't know, just think of like unique names for all your different enemies so that we know what we're fighting here, right? Cool. All right. It is the same enemy again. Yep. We're going to call this enemy the Typhoons. I don't know. Yeah, I would just come up with names for your enemies. And I don't know if you can put them anywhere, but maybe like on a final stat screen or something like that. It shows that you killed, you know, a total of 180 Typhoons or whatever it is. You kill 180 Typhoons, and maybe your next enemy is called the Griffins or whatever. You know, I would give each enemy a different name. So now we're trying to get to 600 points. Yeah, if this game just had sound effects, like I said, just a simple little sound effect for hitting the enemy, pew, 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 every time you get a hit, make it sound cool, and then has a few little sparks that, you know, flew off when you got the hit, it would be so much more satisfying. And I mean, that's an easy fix, man. You can definitely add a sound effect and add some sparks in like 15, 20 minutes. You know, seriously. 15 or 20 minutes, this game would be twice as satisfying, and because it's twice as satisfying, it would be twice as much fun to play. Simple sound effect, a few little sparks that fly off every enemy when you get a hit. That would be awesome. And then if it was me, I would probably also like make the enemies that you do hit, make them turn a little bit lighter or something. Not a whole lot lighter, but maybe make them fade out just a little bit. Maybe change the opacity of them down a little bit, just to 5% every time you get a hit on one or something. Just so they look a little bit different. Again, that's more to the satisfaction of the player actually getting hits. Yeah, I know they're still going to kill you when they hit you, but at least if you change their color just a tad or whatever, change the hue just a little bit, I think that would also help give the player satisfaction, because he's like, wow, look at all these enemies I've already hit. You know, and also it kind of differentiates them from the new spawns that have spawned off. But again, that's a super easy thing to change. I'm trying to get to 800 now. I like your game though. I just think it needs, you know, I think it needs another 30 minutes of work, man. At least right now, that's what I think. And I'm guessing that even the new enemy types are going to be the same kind of thing. Okay, so we got 8. Now we got to get to 900. 300 levels of this. That is insane, man. I definitely want to play and see a couple of different enemy types if I can last that long. I also might introduce new enemy types. Like I might alternate the enemy types as well. Like once you get the first level of these guys beaten, maybe go ahead and, you know, alternate the enemy types so we're not just facing the same enemy, you know, 5 times in a row, because that might get kind of boring. Change things up a little bit quicker. So maybe, you know, once we get the first level of these, I'm calling these the Typhoons. Once we beat these Typhoons, maybe the next one is the Griffins, like I said, whatever. Right, maybe that's the next enemy type. Show us the Griffins, and then after we beat a wave of the Griffins, then show us the, you know, the whatever, the Lava Lions or whatever, right? Whatever your next enemy is. And come up with names for them. All right. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Okay, we got to get to 1,000 now. But yeah, this game could be so much more satisfying just with those impacts. The impacts of a few sparks when we get a hit, and the little sound effects would make this game so much more satisfying to play. Simple things, man. Don't forget these simple things. You got the shot sounds, but what about the impact sounds? Don't forget the simple stuff, man. And what about a few little sparks to show that impact of the bullet hitting them? I like that you can't shoot twice. You know, I tried hitting 2 buttons. I tried to hit, you know, W and A at the same time to see if I could shoot more than one direction at the same time, and it won't allow you to. So I like that. You've definitely thought of some of the things that, you know, new indie developers sometimes forget. Is stuff like that. So you've already accounted for some of these things that developers or that players might do to try to break your game. Yeah, this is a little bit boring facing exactly the same enemy over and over and over again. I would definitely, you know, start alternating the enemies. And, you know, mixing it up a little bit. Because facing the same enemy 10 times in a row, I think what you're going to do is I think you're going to lose players. I think you're going to lose their interest. Players want to see something new. They don't want to have to face 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 of the same enemy to move on to the next enemy. That's just kind of how I feel. Yeah, I would definitely mix it up. But with that, when you mix it up, you're going to have to make sure that the difficulty continues to increase at a gradual pace. So you may have to go in and adjust some of your levels if you do mix it up. So for example, you don't want it to get 10 times harder, you know, when you face the second different type of enemy. And speaking of enemy names, I do think the Typhoons would be a great name for this enemy here. Just because they kind of look like little typhoons or something. Alright. Oh, I died. So, there we go, guys. We're at level 10, and... oh, we get another life. Where is our lives at? It doesn't show me where my lives are at anywhere that I see. So, yeah, we definitely need to show the player how many lives I have, because I didn't even think... I thought the game was over. So, where are... it doesn't... I don't see my ships anywhere. Yeah, we definitely need to let the player know how many lives they have left before game over. Yep, see? I'm messed up again. Okay, we get another life. So see, I'm just guessing at how many lives I have. I have no idea. Boom. But yeah, it's a cool little game. Like I said, I like the ability to move around this much, this freely with the mouse. So I think you got the controls. I really like the controls here. Pretty impressive game for a 99-cent game, especially for your first go. Like I said, I think if you spend 30 minutes to an hour working on a few more little, you know, the simple things, the sound effects, indications of a hit, maybe mixing up the enemies, I think that you would have quite a fun little game here, man. So please don't quit here, man. Continue to work on it. Maybe at least play around with some of the ideas I'm throwing at you, and see if you don't find the game more satisfying yourself. And I'm just guessing here. This is probably either Unity or Game Maker. Kind of feels like Unity a little bit, but I could definitely see this being Game Maker as well. I'd love to know what engine you use for this game. And with Game Maker, I'm sure it's Game Maker too, if it is Game Maker. Because I didn't see a Unity Personal Edition, I think my guess is going to be use Game Maker to make this game. Game Maker, probably. Game Maker Studio 2, probably. Boom, boom, boom. But I would love to know. We're almost there. Okay. Welcome to the stream. There we go. Now we get to go on to the next enemy. Welcome, everybody. Chat disconnected. I'm not seeing any chat. Let me go ahead and see if I can fix that here. Let me refresh. Okay. Yeah, if you guys are talking, please say something again, because I'm not seeing the chat. Now I should be. I refreshed my YouTube studio. All right, let's go. Zone 1 completed. Okay, so what are these guys going to do when we shoot them? Same thing. Okay. Yeah, you might want to work on maybe making it vary a little bit, because these are doing exactly the same thing as I call them, the Typhoons did. Granted, these guys are moving a lot faster, but it's definitely getting harder. We got to get to 500. Okay. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Yeah, I think you need to change this up a little bit. You need to make these guys do something different than the exact same thing that the Typhoons did. These guys move faster, I know, but when you shoot them, something different needs to happen rather than they just split again. I mean, I like what you're trying to do with 20 different enemies, but the only thing different here is their color and they move faster. Vary it up, man, because this is getting boring, man. Yeah, I mean, I know it's going faster and stuff like that, but it would be so much cooler if these guys actually, like when you shot him, if something different happened. All right. Brookie Bear, how you doing, sweetie? What's going on? Trying to help this developer out. See if we can give him some feedback on how he can make this game better. I do like your controls. Your controls work really good. More stuff you could do. You know, you could add power-ups to the game. You could add some kind of a power-up that gives you a shield, maybe, so you can actually take a hit without dying. Maybe the shield lasts 20 seconds if you pick it up. Maybe something to make you shoot faster. I don't know. Maybe pick up a different type of enemy that actually destroys them rather than just splitting them. I don't know. You could definitely add a few power-ups to make the game more interesting as well. But again, start with the simple things that I've already told you. Sound effects when you get a hit and seeing some sparks fall off the enemy when they get hit as well would go a long ways. And I would definitely change the hue a little bit. Like, not a lot, just make it be a little bit lighter, a little bit darker red for enemies that have been shot. Just so that there's a little bit of variation as well. Make it look a little bit more interesting. The music is good. I like the music. Music is pretty intense. Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of games that not only I enjoy, but I think this is the kind of games that I've made myself over the past few years on Steam as well. Granted, I haven't made one exactly like this, but I have made a couple of, you know, space shooters. Boom. And I've played a hell of a lot more of these games like this. 1200 now. Oh, I got hit. Feels bad. Okay, so we don't have a number of lives. Okay, I figured it out. We just, when we die, we get to start from the last point we started at. I gotcha. So we get to start back at level 18 again. My bad. I was thinking we had a number of lives. Yeah, we don't have a number of lives. We only have one life. But when we die, we just get to start over again from the last save point, which is the last level that we made. Okay. That makes sense. At first, I was thinking you were giving me extra lives. Okay. No, they're not here. But I'm pretty sure they'll end up watching the, I'm pretty sure they'll end up watching the stream here. Most indie developers do, especially their first game. And this is going to be this guy's first review on Steam. I mean, I've seen it all day, and I've kind of contemplated buying it, and then I decided, you know what, let's go ahead and buy it. It's only $1, right? Yeah, I love the music, man. And this is pretty crazy action. I mean, I'm having to watch my ass. 1500 now we gotta try to get to. We are on level 20. 300 levels there are in this game, Rookie Bear. That's insane. Yeah, if you don't take any of my other suggestions or advice, if you don't do the power-ups, if you don't do, you know, the alternating the enemies or whatever, at least take my advice on making a simple little impact sound when you hit the enemies and make a few sparks fly off when you hit the enemies. At least do that much. And I would definitely change the hue of the enemies that you hit. And because I think that would actually make the game look cooler, you would see every time you hit an enemy, make it turn just a shade darker. I think that would actually make the game look better as well. You'd see a few different shades of the enemies. It would give you a little bit of variety to the look of the game. Like right now, when there's so many enemies flying around, they'd all be a little bit different hues based on which ones I've hit, which ones I haven't hit, etc. Damn, I was all so close that time. That's cool. I was at 1470. I had to start all over. You got a winning game here, man. I like the gameplay. You got a winning game, and with 300 levels, I mean, the value is here. Oh, come on, man. Yep. It's very simple. I like the simplistic nature of it. I like that you didn't try to charge $10 for this. You know, you realize that, hey, it's a 99-cent game, which is important for a new developer to do, to think that their first game isn't worth, you know, 20 bucks or whatever. So you priced it right, for sure. I just think if you made a few of these simple little changes, I think your game would sell and a lot better and probably get better reviews. And have people playing longer as well. Less chance of refunds, etc., etc. I mean, it's a whole chain reaction. Fuck! It's getting too hard, man. I like it, though. Yeah, maybe adding, if you really want to go further out, maybe adding some way to cloak yourself with the right mouse button for like 5 seconds with a 60-second cooldown or something. That might be cool. You know, like a 5-second cloak or a 3-second cloak, where if we hit right mouse button, we kind of basically turn on invincibility, but it has like a 60-second cooldown or something, 30-second cooldown. You'd have to play around with it to make sure it's not too overpowered, but I think that could be good. Orbs must be shot twice. Okay. Okay, this is the same thing, we just gotta shoot them more. I like that you came up with a name for these guys, though. Boom, boom, boom. I would call these green blobs if it was me. Because you might have, you know, red blobs later on, or yellow blobs, or whatever. Alright. Again, you still just need the impact sounds, though. And maybe make each a different enemy, maybe make the impact sound be a little bit different, just add variety to it, right? So maybe make however many different types of enemies, you have 20 different enemy types, make 20 different kind of impact sounds. Just so that the impact sounds on, you know, the impacts sound a little bit different from one enemy to the next. See, you kind of have the sparks flying off these guys that I'm looking at, but the sparks are there no matter if you shoot them or not. But that's kind of the same kind of style of sparks I'm talking about when you shoot them. You should see something like that fly off and then obviously disappear after like a second. Yeah, but with no impact sounds or whatever on these enemies, your game, like, you just don't know, man. Like, to the developer, without those impact sounds when your bullets hit these guys, like, the game is so much less immersive, it's so much less fun. You have no idea how much adding the right little sounds for the impacts and adding a few sparks fly off the enemy when you hit it with a bullet, like, that is going to, I promise you, just those little changes right there, a little sound, it doesn't have to be much, just a little pew, pew, you know, a little sound like when you get a hit or whatever. Like I said, just make a pew sound into your mic, man, and then play with Audacity and make it sound cool. And then have that sound effect when you hit. Just try it out yourself. I promise you it'll make a world of difference. And then also, whether, I don't care, just make some little sparks or little pieces fly off when you get a hit. And then obviously have them fade out as they, you know, as they dissipate as they kind of, you know, spread out. If you do that, you are going to make your game twice as much fun to play, twice as immersive to play, twice as addicting to play. It's going to make a world of difference. I promise you, 20 minutes, you spend 20 minutes doing those two things, you are going to basically double the quality of your game. Sound effects and little visual impacts like that make all the difference in the world. Don't forget the little things in these games, man. I like your game. I do think there should be more variety. I do think that you should introduce more variety to the player as well, instead of actually having to go through 10 different waves of the, I call them the typhoons. I think you should introduce the new enemy types a lot sooner, and then progressively work it out so that every level does continue to get progressively harder. So we don't want to see basically you beat the first level of the typhoons and then go to the green blobs and have it be, you know, way harder. You definitely need to, if you alternate them, you still need to make sure that the difficulty of the game gets progressively harder and harder. And you could still do that with your score. You know, you still have the score that you're gradually increasing that you got to get, but I would definitely alternate these enemies so that the player sees more. And then also, one other idea, if you definitely want to take your game over the top, to really mix things up rather than just alternating the enemies, you need to add bosses as well. So maybe every 10 levels, every 20 levels or whatever, you fight some kind of super boss, some kind of a big thing where you really got to, shoot him down and take down his health while he's, creating enemies like what we see on the screen right now. Maybe he's spawning enemies or whatever that come at you. Bosses as well, maybe every 20 levels would be huge for your game. And I know I'm asking a lot, but if you don't do anything else, take advantage. I mean, definitely try out the simple little impact sound when you get a hit and some sparks flying off when you get a hit. That'll make a huge difference right there. And then alternating your enemies would be another big suggestion to you. And then adding bosses like every 20th level or something like that through your 300 levels would be huge as well. You find all these interesting games? Yeah, I'm pretty good at finding these little games, Falconer. This one just launched earlier today. And to this developer, he's a brand new developer on Steam. I'm going to keep this game. I'm definitely not going to refund this game. I like how it says goodbye. That's cool. I like that. I like how when you say quit, it says goodbye. Very awesome. Pirate Dog Games. I know you're a single developer. I'd love to know how old you are. Are you a teenager? Guys, I can't overemphasize how impressed I am with this indie developer. And to this indie developer, a huge, huge fucking pat on your back, buddy. Huge pat on your back. And here's why. Here's why I love this so much, guys. And you don't understand, because if you look through all my reviews, you see nothing but tons of misgames. You see tons of indie developers trying to make the next Call of Duty meets Dead by Daylight meets Fortnite meets, a survival game. So many indie developers are out there trying to basically overreach. They're trying to make something way bigger than they can possibly ever make by themselves. They're out there buying all these pretty assets, and their games look like 50 other games because they're all buying the same 3D graphics, and they're cobbling these assets together. They don't know how to put them together right, and they wind up making a big fucking mess. And it ends up making a miss video instead of actually being a fun to play little game. Huge props to this developer for understanding his limitations. He understands that he's not going to make the next Call of Duty meets Dead by Daylight meets Fortnite all in one and try to make some, super massive, awesome game and try to sell it for $10 on Steam and it end up being nothing but, a bunch of assets that he spent $300 on. No, this developer has made his own sprites. He's made his own game with code. And he understands the limitations of what he can do. And in the world today where we're full of indie developers out there cobbling together assets, you don't understand how much I appreciate this as both an indie game developer myself and an indie game reviewer who is tired of having to give developers, low scores and miss videos. I like HyperShot. Right now, I'm going to give the game a 7 out of 10 to you, Pirate Dog. I think the game's a great value at 99 cents right now. But I think if you take my suggestions or be creative, man, but if you mix up and alternate your enemies so the game is more interesting, if you add the simple little sound effects I've already told you about 10 times, if you add those impact little sparks that fly off when you get a hit to make those hits more satisfying, keep the same controls you got. I'm not asking a lot. But if you do the impact, visual impacts, you do the sound effects, so, the shots that you land are much more satisfying. Change the hue. I would suggest change the hue of the color of the enemies you shoot. Either a little bit lighter or a little bit darker, doesn't matter. Every time you get a hit, they just get a little bit darker or a little bit lighter. Obviously have limitations so they don't get too dark or too light, right? And have them reach a threshold. But if you do all this kind of stuff and you alternate the enemy types so that we see all the enemies quicker, and then, if you do take my advice, and every 20 levels through the 300 levels you got, every 20th level you fight a mega boss, make some boss that shoots this shit at you, that's a little bit more difficult, that changes things up as well. This could be a Zaxtor's Indie Gold, right? This could easily be a Zaxtor's Indie Gold. I'd love to do that for you, developer. You don't have to put a boss every 20 levels, but make the game better. Start off with the simple things that I've already given you. Show that you can listen to feedback and suggestions from an indie game developer myself. And I've been also playing games my whole life. I'm giving you good advice. Let's see if this indie developer can take what I'm saying to heart and make his game better. I know that he can. We'll see if he takes feedback and how he responds to my 7 out of 10 initial score. All right, guys, I am about to play the visual novel I've been playing, Angel Wings. We're going to get right back into that with part 9 here in just shortly, the next 10 minutes or so. We're going to go ahead and start on that. That'll be live stream Under the Moonshine number 252. And again, hats off and praise to this developer for, again, realizing his limitations and not out there cobbling together assets like so many indie developers do. He realizes what he can do and what he can't do, and I love to see that. 7 out of 10 is my score, with the potential of this game becoming a Zaxtor's Indie Gold with just a little bit more work and a little bit more thought into how the customer and how the player is going to take your game. Again, props to the developer for what he's already done, and this is an impressive first entry onto Steam, for sure. All right, guys, we'll be back in about 10 minutes. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. If this video has inspired you to go help out this new indie developer and give this game a purchase at just 99 cents, be sure you comment down below. Let me know. I would love to know that. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure you hit that like button, guys. And I would love to see the developer respond. Let us know how long he spent working on this game, what he plans to do on this game, and let us know how old he is as well, where he's from, that kind of stuff. I'd love to know. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.